What do you think are the main contributors towards the society being basically collapsing, as you say? What are the main reasons behind it?
I don't want to overuse this, but I think it's so fundamental and it's so clear that it has to be said, and that's that we've started putting the cart before the horse. So we're now in an era where you no longer have to be scavenging for resources. We're actually in an era of overabundance where the skill isn't resource location, it's resource selection and being able to determine what you actually need. So not to eat too much because we've got access to so much food, not to watch too much porn or whatever it may be. We're living in an era of overabundance, and the people that are going to thrive, they're going to be the ones that have a really strong skill of selection and impulse control.
So it's basically control over yourself, over what you watch, over what you consume, that is going to drive the best of us towards success.
Yes, and back to the question of why our society is in the position that it's in, that goes deeper. It's not just things that might seem trivial to a 40-year-old, like people watching too much porn. Like, how can a society be crumbling because of that? It's not crumbling because of that. That's a symptom of many other problems. We're doing the same thing. We're putting the cart before the horse with the houses we build. We're building all these new modern houses that no one can afford to live in, and therefore we're screwed with housing. We don't have anywhere to live, so we can't have babies. There's a depopulation bomb about to go off. And again, with those modern houses being built, it's the cart before the horse because we're prioritizing some glamorous modern white building rather than building practical things that we actually need, even if they're a bit uglier. So I think that's the problem. It's in the political world, the incentive structures, again, it's to get re-elected. And you need to put the cart before the horse to do that. You need to push stuff down the line. You need to kick the can down the line, whatever it may be. You need to keep on importing migrants in mass to get your national GDP up, whilst your national GDP per capita suffers. So it's all of these little tricks to essentially appear as though you're doing good when you're just kicking the can down the alley.
And to add up to that, I think a big part of the problems that we currently have are caused by education, and the fact that it's not necessarily that education that we are all experiencing is bad. It's more that it's not modern. It's not adopted to the newest trends. You know, I think most of the universities are trying to tackle the new emerging AI, new internet resources that people have in order to complete their assessments in the wrong way. I think while you're trying to bar one AI from being used, or try to find that, so desperately find a way to check how to detect AI, how many universities have done with ChatGPT. Another one will emerge, like Grok, that's recently been launched by Elon Musk, and it's already showing results. So I think universities really need to think about how they adapt to the circumstances that the world is moving towards. And content creation is something quite interesting and special, because previously it's never been so easy to spread information. And previously, people obtained information through education, through reading books carefully, long hours reading books. But now people can just search something up on internet, forget it 2 minutes later, search it up again. So they won't have to necessarily go get the book, go get it back, put it back, get another book. So it's all very quick. And the access to the information is right there. And I think with this information, universities really need to make use of that, providing education on AI, providing education on how they are allowing students to use it. As I've seen many universities grow, and I think they've changed from we're not going to let you use AI at all to, well, maybe you can use it to search up ideas, but not more than that. And I think over time they're going to adapt and create a different sort of assessments. For example, presentations, that people are going to use presentations more often in order to practice their speaking abilities.
Yeah, well, at the moment, the education system that we have, the way you determine how successful you have been in your schooling period is information regurgitation, which is exactly what AI models do the best. They struggle with other traits that we're not teaching in schools. So play this out down the line once AI takes over way more than it does, way more than it has at the moment, which it's going to. It's inevitable, in my opinion. The people that have relied on purely being brought up by the education system, they've put their faith in the government, they've gone through primary school, secondary school, college, and then they've racked up a bunch of debt to go to university. They've put their faith in the institutions there. They're doing the exact same style of work where they're regurgitating information. They're going to be absolutely screwed when they get into the real world because, and this is something that people speak about all the time, is that when you come out of university, you don't have the wisdom of a professor.
Yeah.
So what do you do when the information regurgitation that you had is no longer valuable and an AI can take your job when you're 25 and you're not yet at that level of being a professor with all the wisdom and experience and ability to determine when the AI actually is slightly off? You're just not going to get employed. But I guess it's a double-edged sword because on the one hand, universities not wanting to use AI is like, I don't know, the printing press coming along and becoming mainstream and schools being like, no, this is cheating. Like you need to keep on writing stuff on wax tablets or on, with a quiver and pen, quiver and paper or whatever. So it's stupid on one hand, but then on the other hand, is it replacing fundamental skills that we need? Like you said, people search something up using AI and that might be better short term for retrieving the information, but then they forget it. So they're not practicing anything to do with their memory. So I think there's a balance to be had where you need to implement these things into the systems because they're going to be running the place, but also you can't compromise on fundamental skills that are maybe only developed by ditching AI. So it's a bit of a paradox.
Yeah, but also there is a whole lot of population now that is being overly critical towards universities. Universities, I think, are still a great thing and still develop your minds to a certain extent. They just don't guarantee you any sort of career. You just have to do something except for the university. And I think universities have been able to adapt well in that regard to the timetabling, understanding that students will work, understanding that students will do something on the side, prefer to do something on the side in order to be successful in future. Have you gone to the university?
No, I'm 19
No?
And I came straight out of British college, which is before you go to university, 2 years.
Why? Do you not see the value in the information you're going to get?
I definitely don't see the value for me. I can see how university is important if you want to become a doctor and you can't just have these self-made doctors from YouTube tutorials running around with scalpels, cutting people open. But for someone in the creative space, I think that university can crush a lot of your agency and it can teach you to conform. And I don't mean that in any conspiratorial way. The skills that you're learning, the classroom that you're sat in or lecture hall, and the fact that you have to ask to go to the toilet and wait for a bell to be finished and have your lunch at certain times. It's all this factory worker style conditioning. Literally, it's like the most Pavlovian conditioning ever of having a bell ring when you can eat. So you're being taught to conform and you're being taught a way of thinking. And I don't think that used to be the case from speaking to my parents and people in their generation. They were encouraged to think about things and put forwards their perspective. Whereas now it seems that people are just prescribed what to think and how to think. And I think that's super dangerous. I think that actually by taking the risk of working